Alright there, welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. I am well behind schedule at the moment. I've wanted to put a load of stuff up. I've just not got round to getting round to do things, so sorry about that, folks. I've got a new episode of British Steel coming. Let's talk about. I've got that in the works. Maiden Cast is back tomorrow. But yeah, today we're talking about a band from Japan called Evil. I'm going to be talking about their second album, Possessed by Evil. This is going to be a bit of a let's talk about really, but I'm going to be focusing mainly on the second album. But just to give you a bit of background, excuse me, I got into the band around 2019 when they put out their split with Siege Column. But where's my stuff? Yeah, right. I'll get to that in a bit though. So first off, they put out a split in 2014 with Lurking Fear. Now the band share a drummer, or they certainly did at the time. So this is their first split. And let's get that out. That's pretty cool artwork, isn't it? And that's the band there. Then they put out their first album, Rights of Evil. All their albums as well come with these cool obi strips. I've seen a lot of bands put these out now, and it used to be like a thing with Japanese imports, but I'm seeing a few. I think I've got a band from Portugal. They had one on it. I think it's a cool little touch, and they look cool when they stand out a bit more when they're on the shelf. But yeah, right, so this is the first album. There you go, you get the idea. I think they've got a similar sort of photo on the inside there, yeah. Of course, right, you got your lyrics in English and in Japanese. So this album, there you go, look, that's the inside of the of the booklet. This album is awesome. It's really energetic, really frantic, good old-fashioned thrash metal with a blackened, like I said, think a thrash metal burger with a black metal sauce, something like that. It just verges on black metal enough for you to recognize it. It's hard to describe black metal to someone who's not into it, but all I can say is you know it when you hear it. It's the best way to put it. You reckon once you're accustomed to it, you recognise it. But when I say black metal as well, think Bathory, early Bathory anyway. Think Venom. It's the strip there. Then they put out this live album. Hopefully the whole stuff nice enough. So close, this camera will find its feet. This has got loads of cool live shots in. So from the live shots and the way the band compose themselves, this is a pretty cool backstage shot. You're kind of getting the idea now. They pretty much sound how they look. Like a crazy bunch of black and fresh metalers. And then there's also another live album called Live from Hell, which I just spotted, and it's only available on cassette. And there's only 66 copies, so yeah, good luck with that one. Unless it's just that on a cassette, I don't know. But right, so then we put out the split with Siege Column. I think this was the Die Hard edition. You get 2 patches. Again, another obi strip thing there. I've been on the inside of that one. That's the
I think that artwork is just awesome.
Oh shit. That was a fly.
Flyer now. So that's the inside.
And then the vinyl is like a black. I'm not sure if
The camera's really going to pick it up.
it's like a black.
Marble effect.
And I also picked up the cassette. And then, yeah, there you go. Right, so without any further ado, I will. This split was with Siege Column, as I mentioned. They're pretty cool as well. I picked this up and got all of. While I was getting into Eve off, I might as well check these out as well, and that's their album there. Check them out. Not a million miles different, but got their own thing going on. Right, so let's get into it. There's this comes with a strip as well, actually. Yeah. So, got anything on the side here? Yeah, you got the
Band photo there in the middle.
and then we just got lyrics, both in Japanese and in English. Nothing else really. So, what starts off the album is like this nice, cool intro track. It's about 2 minutes long, and it's playing through. It's an instrumental, basically, a 2-minute instrumental introduction, really. Much in the tradition of Ides of March by Iron Maiden on Killers, Transylvania, I guess you could say. It kind of starts off with some frantic drumming, and it builds into this kind of like a. I'd say what it reminds me of actually is I think the first Megadeth album, but with a bit of new wave British heavy metal chucked in, and yeah, it goes into this like sort of shredding leads as well, and yeah, you got about it goes like sort of dun 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 dun, you know, it goes into this thing, and then it goes into the first proper song, which is Yaksa. This is where it comes into the thrash metal, verging on black metal. Now, the first album is thrash balls out, but this is more got a rock and roll feel to it on this album. What they call black and roll, and then like people like Entombed, they call death and roll. It's got real sharp sort of barking vocals, and it kind of goes into these. He goes into these King Diamond screams as well. Like this, you know, doesn't hold them quite as long as King Diamond would, but held him a lot longer than the one I just attempted. But then we got Revenge, which has a cool main riff, which the song kind of evolves around. Then playing in the background right now, if you can hear it, is Razin. Fucking fantastic song, really. It's the highlight on the album, I think. The single, if you will. It kind of starts off with this. It's got like a catchy Motorhead style riff, and then it goes into a like this drumming section, and it kicks into this. Goes into like a bit of a jam, really, and you get these. It just all comes together. The band just comes together, and it's just this really riffing, shredding, just really tight. And then it just goes into this blistering melodic, just this fantastic solo, and it just reaches this peak in the song, which like, yeah, this is just pure fucking heavy metal glory, and yeah, it's fantastic. We then go into Paramount Evil, which again is just pure thrash. And then one thing throughout this album, the album feels and plays much like a live set. Like, I wouldn't, if I saw this band live tomorrow, if only. I'd be happy for this album to be played in full. It just leads. Each song just melds into the next, and they all just complement each other. So where one's really fast, one might be a bit more mid-tempo, but it just bounces and just smoothly goes along, and it just plays itself. It's just an effortless listen, and so often, you know, a song will sort of fade out, like it'll ring out with some feedback, and then that feedback will lead into the next song. So quite often, I mean, I thought like track number 4 was track 2 or track 3. There's certain times, unless you're sitting there watching the track list, say you're playing it on a phone or you're playing it on the, you know, whatever device you're playing on, your laptop or whatever, unless you watch the song change over, you think it's just one long song. So you think like the song's just moved into another section or something like that, but no, it just moves along. I think there isn't a song on this album that's over 5 minutes, and only 3 of them are over 4. So it's very quick moving, very fast paced. And then there's these 3 tracks, which is, there's nothing indicating it. It's not labelled, but you've got the Gate of Hell, Hell's Evil Bells, and Bottom of Hell, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. These 3 songs just lead into each other, so I don't know if they're going to be played as one piece, or if it's 3, you know, one long song split into 3. There's no like part 1, part 2, or anything like that, but it just makes sense with the hell in all the titles. And yeah, Gates of Hell kind of starts off, well, it's just like a 1.5 minute intro really. It's just the instrumental, but it leads straight into Hell's Evil Gate, and that's thrashy as hell. It's really good, really fast, really frantic. Great solo. Again, all throughout this album, there's fantastic lead work, real awesome. Not only are they frantic and all over the place, but you can tell they're measured and thought out. And some of them are really, really melodic as well. Like it reminds me in times of Angel Witch. But then you got Bottom of Hell, and that's a bit slower, a bit more mid-paced, and then goes kind of doomy towards the end. Then you've got Enmaten, and I think I'm pronouncing that right, E-N-M-A-T-E-N, Enmaten. And that starts off with like this Judas Priest style introduction, then goes bang into this black metal bit that's just real dark, and you know, this is what you want from black metal. But then that then changes again, and it all breaks down into this nice little bass riff. So it's like, and then that builds up into a new section of the song, and that builds up basically like thrashy again. But it's just a real, from what the chops and changes in this one song alone, it's just really interesting, like clever use of song structure really, and another fantastic solo in that one as well. But again, that ends on a wall of feedback, and starts off into the title track, and that starts off quite melodic actually as well, quite like a clean melodic, and it goes into this riff. But even when it starts off, but then later on it goes into a thrashy part, but we come back to that same melody, but it's sped up, and then it goes back into this slow doomy part as it rings out, and it comes back to that same riff again. So as much as it's sped up and slowed down, that main melody just rings through it all the way to things. Quite clever how they keep coming back to it. And then we can finish off with what's it called? Evil Way of Life. They got evil in their titles a lot, I've noticed that. But yeah, that kind of comes off like a good, like a groove at the beginning, and then that leads into like a fast section as well, and then it comes into this bit really like the second half of the song where you've got these twin leads with the guitarists just feed off each other, go back and forth, and then the band just really comes together in this sort of frantic jam, and you just know that this has been rehearsed. They've played it 100 times, so they know it backwards, and it just comes to that part where you just know, you know, when a band's just so tight and so frantic, and everyone's just feeding off each other, and they all just lock in, and you just know one note out of place, one skipped beat, the whole thing's just going to fall apart like a house of cards. But it don't matter, because this band is so tight that it's going to they just hold it, and it just builds up to this frantic climax at the end, and it just ends like a perfect live set, really. And that's best thing I could do to describe this. Imagine just being in a small, sweaty room, surrounded by people. Remember that? And or even if you're just watching them in the rehearsal studio and just watching them feed off each other. This has that live feel to it. It's wonderfully produced because it's not sterile. It's not. It feels live. That's the best way I can through it. It's got a raw energy to it, and you can just sit there and picture a band playing. It's just fantastic. And yeah, just think thrash metal, but then it just goes over that hump, and then we're in black metal territory, but not in an off-putting way for someone who doesn't like black metal, you know. So again, I've mentioned Motorhead, I've mentioned Angel Witch, Venom is another thing that I get reminded of, but I've mentioned early Bathory, but I've mentioned Judas Priest, Angel Witch, Megadeth, but it's still black metal, you know. It's still got that. Black metal's hard to describe, but when you recognise it, you know it. You know it when you hear it, but it's got so much mixed in as well. This is going to transcend genres. I think it's just a fantastic record. They're a fantastic band as well because they just play so well and they play so tight and they're so energetic and raw. But they got great songs and great leads, and yeah, I can't get enough of them. I think they're a fantastic band, and I think more people should know about them. So yeah, it's coming up now. So we've got a quite an impressive little catalogue going on. So yeah, Evil, Nuclear War Productions. Go check them out. You know what to do. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.